Welcome to the state's #1 podcast on a Friday afternoon. We have got a show for you that you do not want to miss. I actually have a couple of guests lined up, and I can't wait to get them on. One of them has just got out of school, so we are pretty much waiting for him to give us the cue. The other one is the coach of a football team where he's been there since the school opened up. I'm going to say they're out there on the northwest part of the city in a town called Maize. As to which one it is, I'm not going to tell you that, but I am looking forward to today's show. I'm looking forward to today's guest. I've had a very eventful week. Some of you may know, and some of you may not know. So if you don't know, let me just go ahead and lay it out for you right here. I work 2 jobs. I work third shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Thursday. Then I picked up a part-time job, a company I'm familiar with. They're familiar with me, and they gave me what I wanted. I may live to regret that later on, but they gave me what I wanted. They're called Smart Security. Yes, I'm giving them a shout out because anytime I needed to step away, they let me step away. Whenever I need to come back, they let me come back. Step away again, they let me step away, come back again. And not only that, they gave me the schedule I wanted. Like I said, I may live to regret that, but the schedule is like this. I go in at 7 and get off at 11, which means I have the rest of the afternoon to sleep. Do not disturb. Don't bother me. I don't want to hear nothing from you between the time I get home and go to sleep until time for me to wake up and go back to work again. Then I had a gig with KFH with Bob Lutz and Mike Furchess. Yes, I'm mentioning their names on my podcast because I'm also a part-time on-air personality with KFH Radio. My podcast is not associated with them, but I won't call the other station's name unless I just really have to. But I will call their name because that's who I'm currently with. And the reason I don't call other names is because I don't want the conflict of interest. Of course, I am allowed. This is my podcast. This is my baby. I can have guests on from different shows. And if they want to let know who they work for, that's on them. I'm just not going to do that. But anyway, we have Quaid, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Thomas, who is a student at Cheney High School, I do believe, yes. He is a 6'6", 190-pound power forward and post player. He's part of the class of 2027, plays for Team Griffin Elite Youth Basketball League. So he's a very busy young man. I believe he's going to be a key player, not just role player, but a key player on the upcoming edition of Cheney's basketball season. I know football season is around the corner, and we're talking about basketball. But anyway, what I'm about to do, I am about to get this young man on the phone here, and we're just going to welcome him in on the train ride. See if I can pull him up because he is ready, and we're going to get him on the line here. Yes, okay. One moment here. Let me see here. All right, can you hear me now? Okay. For some reason, everything is not connecting. It was connecting earlier, but we're getting Mr. Thomas on the line here. Oh, no wonder it's not connecting. Got the wrong jack in here. These things happen in radio, and these things happen in podcasting. So we're going to get the right connection here. Here we go. Now, I think he can hear me even better. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the train ride, on the A-Train Sports Talk podcast, as I always say, and I'm pretty sure you've heard a few of them now, the #1 podcast in the state of Kansas. Why is it #1? Because I give young people a voice, young student athletes a voice. And I get a lot of love from the Cheney community. Some of the football players have been on, and I'm elated to have one of the basketball stars of the team who plays for Team Griffin Elite Youth Basketball League, part of the class of 2027. He's a 6'6", 190-pound power forward and post player. They made a good run in state tournament last year, and I believe this year they're going to finish the deal. And I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. We have on the train ride, Quaid Thomas. What's up, bro?
Hey, how are you?
I'm glad to have you on here, man. You've had a busy summer, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And it says that you're part of the class of 2027, but just listening to you right now, you already sound mature beyond your age. So tell me, what has the summer been like? Because the questions I like to ask, you've been playing basketball pretty much all summer long on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between playing for your high school team and playing AAU ball? Because I know there's a difference in coaches and a difference in philosophy. So what's the difference between the two?
It's definitely an eye opener. Way more talent than I could see in high school. The league I'm playing in, it was a good time to play in the summer.
And what are some of the talent level that you're going up against when you're playing the AAU circuit as opposed to playing the high school circuit, playing high school ball?
Like we played eighth graders that were 6'4", 6'5". Some of them, 7-footers, my grade, just offers. Most teams that we play, kids already have D1 offers from that team. It was just a lot of talent.
And that is the one thing that I'm noticing, because it seems like you're more likely to get noticed on the AAU circuit as opposed to playing during the high school season. So during the high school season, probably you may see maybe 1 to 3 coaches probably throughout the year, as opposed to the AAU circuit. You probably see a D1, D2, even JUCO coaches just about every tournament during the weekend, right?
Yes.
So let me ask, how many offers have you received thus far?
I haven't got any offers yet, but I have been talking to some coaches that want me to come to camps. I know I'm not sure of the name, but there is a Christian school out down in Oklahoma that has been looking at me too.
Okay. Well, I just believe that the more you play and as you gain even more experience, eventually those offers will show up. So let me hear about the coaching philosophy of your high school coach and how your team is made up, because I've been looking at some clips, and I'm telling you, I'm going to make a bold prediction. And if you tell me to slow down, I'll slow down.
Mm-hmm.
But you, and I believe you play alongside Logan Wallace, right?
Yes.
Okay.
On the JV side, varsity side, I played with Carter Pointer.
Okay, I've had him on, and to me, like I said, I told him point straight up. I said, you remind me of Ron Baker the way you play. And of course, I found out he trained with Ron Baker a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I was looking at Logan's clips as well too, and I'm like, first of all, how tall is he? And I mean, I'm picturing you at 6'6" and him at whatever his height is, and Carter all at the same time, because I believe Logan's going to be playing varsity too.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to have some length. But what is the coaching philosophy that your coach emphasizes? Because I know it's the difference between high school and AAU ball. So what is your game style with your regular high school team?
Game style, it's kind of old school. He's kind of old school, like an old school coach. So he likes to just do old school stuff when we're in the games. He doesn't usually play a lot of lower classmen. It's usually upperclassmen that usually play, unless you have the talent to play. But this year, I think Logan will be a big help this year with his length and athletic ability that he's gained over the summer.
Absolutely. So this will be your, I'm going to say, this is your freshman, sophomore year in high school? Sophomore year. At what age did you pick up a basketball and decided this is what I want to do? Because I know most of the Cheney athletes that I've talked to, they were 2 sport athletes, but they finally decided this is the one I'm going to hang my hat on. So at what point did you decide basketball is what I'm going to hang my hat on?
I think I started playing first grade, maybe kindergarten, played in a little rec league. And then I remember the first game I played in, I had 29 points. And then after that, I went to YMCA, then MYB, and then AAU.
All right. So you're basically getting your name out there. You're playing in all these leagues, and 29 points your first game. And what was that feeling like? I mean, was it in front of a packed house, half packed house? Uh, yeah, I know your friends were there, but what was that feeling like? To play your first game and record 29 points.
Um, it was like a little gym. It was cool. I didn't realize that I scored that much because I was just out there having fun. But then once I started like knowing how to get better and like doing the things that I do, learning the moves that I can do, it started getting more and more fun. Started liking it more. That's when I just stuck with it.
All right. Now, I always ask this question of my young student athletes because I know that it is very important. And, me being the age I am, if I try to stress the importance of an education, they'll be like, well, that's an old man. He's just saying what he's supposed to say. But I feel like
Mm.
young people influence young people. So the first question I
Yes.
want to ask you, what is your grade point average?
Grade point is probably a 3.5.
3.5. I like to hear that.
Oh, like grade or points?
Right, your GPA right now.
Oh yeah, 3.5. Yeah, yeah.
All right. The next question is, how important is education? This is your chance to nail it like everybody else do.
Grades definitely up first, in my opinion. I can't go anywhere else without. I can't go to the schools where I want to go without the grade that I have.
Okay, so your grades and your homework, your ethic in the classroom is what opens up the doors for opportunities even beyond the court. Because I've even heard it said like this: at the end of the day, the
Yep. Yes, sir.
all right, now I'm back. My microphone became disconnected. Like I said, one of the things, the grades. One of the athletes said, at the end of the day, the ball is going to stop bouncing, and you have to have that education to fall back on. And I know it's kind of early in the game, but besides basketball and making the good grades, what else do you see beyond the basketball court as far as a career if basketball doesn't pan out?
If basketball doesn't work out, I either want to be like I want to do something with basketball. So like I'll train. I usually train kids. I'm training kids like now, like my two little cousins, and then I have a couple other kids out in Wichita that I train. But I just want to do something with basketball so it doesn't go to waste.
So basically, it's kind of like basketball is good to you, and you want to give back to the game of basketball. I like that philosophy. I like the fact that not only are you a player, not only are you a student, but you already have people looking up to you. And basically, what that means is what you're saying is character is everything. Because not only do you represent the school, you also represent the coaching staff, you also represent your parents. And one bad thing, and people will remember that one bad thing. So I want to applaud you for what you're doing already, as far as working with the kids. Now, tell me something about your coach. Give me your coach's name and tell me how much of an influence he is on your basketball playing days.
My coach's name is Lindy Frieden, and he's been good to me. He's always came to everything, like basketball tournaments and stuff like that, the ones that are local. In middle school, I played in the middle school all-star game. He showed up to that. He was a big supporter in that game. Um, he's always just been there for me when I needed it, and always just helped me out, make sure I'm doing okay in school, keep my grades up, stuff like that.
That's good to hear. And I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, and I'm gonna let you go because I know the weekend is here. You probably got some games you ready to play. But one of the questions, now my mind has done went blank. I can't believe this, but once again, we're talking with Quaid Thomas on the A Train Sports Talk podcast. Uh, Man, I can't think what that question was I was going to ask, but yeah, here it is right here. I know that the football team, who just recently won the state title, they say the training starts during the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
When does it start with the basketball team? Because I know you guys, especially you play these AAU tournaments. But when do your actual high school team? When do you guys decide? Okay, it's time to come together. It's time to go hit the weight room. It's time to do this as a team. When does that time actually happen? Because I know it doesn't just happen right before basketball season. You have to build that chemistry even during the off season. So when does that happen for you?
So our football coach actually does all the weight training during the summer, which it's, in my opinion, strictly for football players. So I just kind of work out by myself. But then in June, like early June, July, we start doing team camps, and we help out with little kids. We have a little kids team camp. Older kids help with that. And then we just do summer league games.
Okay. All right, then. So let me get a prediction from you because I want to know the makeup of your team. How many key players y'all have coming back? We know Carter's coming back. We know you'll be on the team. How does this team look as far as making a deep run in tournament and possibly bringing that trophy home?
I think this might be our year because we have kids that are stepping up in my grade, like Logan Wallace. There's another kid named Alex Lynch. He's gotten better. He didn't play last year from an ACL tear, but this summer I've been watching him play. He's gotten really better. Aiden Kane, he's a football player, but he's aggressive on the court, getting rebounds and stuff like that. I just think that we'll be good this year from the talent that we have. We came up short last year, but just with the talent that's coming up, stepping up, we should be set.
Well, what I want to do is I want to thank you for taking some time, making some time to be here on the A Train Sports Talk podcast. It has made my day. And I want to wish you guys the best of luck. And I also want to put this out. You guys will see me pop up at a game every now and then. And actually, it's going to start in the football season. So look for me at a football game, maybe one or two.
Yes.
And then I'll be definitely coming to check you guys out on the basketball court as I make my rounds here and there. So once again, thank you again and good luck. All right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Once again, my guest on the A Train Sports Talk podcast, Quaid Thomas, member of Cheney Cardinals. I do apologize that I've had some technical glitches, but we made it through there. So what I am going to do right here, I am going to take a break, get my head back on straight because I hate bloopers. I really do. But we will be right back. So don't you dare go nowhere because my next guest, he is waiting, I'm pretty sure. Matter of fact, I'm going to shoot him a message and see if he's actually ready. We might be able to get him on right after this break. So don't you go nowhere. This train is building up ahead of steam. Like I say, number one podcast in the state of Kansas because of my guest. The number one podcast that gives young student athletes a voice. And we even allow coaches on the train ride every now and then too. So you better stay tuned and stay seated till the ride is over. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the A Train Sports Talk podcast. Bloopers and all. Now I know what my good buddy Bob Lutz felt like the other day when It was me, him, and Mike Purchase, three-headed monster. You just have those days, but you, as the young people say, you keep it pushing. I am waiting to hear from my next guest because the train is about to get loaded even after my next guest. So, but what I want to do right now, I want to send a shout out to some new people that I've just recently made their acquaintance. Actually, it's a new person, and want to send a shout out. And if you are in the Oklahoma area and you're listening at this podcast, or you plan on making your way down to Oklahoma City anytime soon, stop by Kimmy's Tasty Treats. Kimmy's Tasty Treats. I haven't made there yet, but me and my wife got kin folks on both sides of the family there, so we will definitely be looking this place up. Just to give you a rundown of what you can expect to get at Kimmy's Tasty Treats. Cupcakes, vanilla, chocolate, red velvet, butter, lemon, strawberry. Special cake flavors. Strawberry cheesecake crunch, banana pudding, Oreo cookies and cream, vanilla caramel, peach cobbler, carrot cake, German chocolate, white German chocolate, butter pecan. Got the pound cakes, lemon blueberry, banana pudding, strawberry, cookie and cream, lemon, butter pecan, 7-Up vanilla. This is just to name a few. They got cookies by the dozen, chocolate chip and sugar cookies, speck cookies. They got double chocolate chip, cookie butter, banana pudding, oatmeal raisin, rockstar butter pecan with walnuts. I mean, you have to make it your duty to stop by Kimmy's Tasty Treats in Oklahoma City. So I just want to give a shout out to Kimmy's Tasty Treat. We met basically on social media, and I said, you know what? I said, I'll give you a mention on my podcast. I can do that for you. We scratch each other's back. So just want to let people know, if you got a sweet tooth, you better go by Kimmy's Tasty Treats and get your sweet tooth fix on. I'm pretty sure you will not be disappointed. Buy local, support local. So anyway, like I said, I'm waiting for my next guest. As a matter of fact, I might just go ahead and buzz him up, and we can get him in queue here. One of these days, I'm going to be at a point where I'm going to have someone pushing all these buttons for me and let me know such and such is on the phone. Right now, I have to do everything on my own, but you know what? I also enjoy it. But I am about to give him a call here. If I'm fortunate, he might just answer it.
How we doing?
And I do believe I have on the phone with me none other than the coach of the Maize South Eagles. Is this Coach Brent Pfeifer?
It'll be the Maize South Mavericks, but it sure is.
The Maize South Mavericks. Did I say the wrong name? Oh, shame on me. Anyway, to introduce my guest, you want to talk about longevity. He's been there ever since the school opened 2009. He's been head coach. Has compiled a 103-51 record, so something tells me he knows something about winning. I believe, and I'm going to say this in all humor, I believe the reason he gets along with a guy named Doug Downs is because he's originally from Nebraska, and Doug is a big Nebraska Cornhusker fan. I had to throw that in there. Moved to Topeka, Kansas at the start of high school and attended Washburn Rural. So that lets you know good things do come out of Washburn Rural. So they got a phenomenal female basketball player right now as we speak. Went to school at Coffeyville Community College, and we still get along. I went to Hush Community College, but we'll find a way to get along. Transferred to Emporia State. I believe Leon Lett went to that school, so
yep.
He's followed in some good footsteps. Basketball, 17 years. Track, 22 years at the high school level. Coach, I want to say thank you for taking time out to be on the train ride. Appreciate you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. How about yourself today?
I'm doing great, and I want to say that I am grateful to the Maize South community. I want to get that right. The Maize South community, because it was Coach Joe Jackson who opened the door for me to come back in to enjoy first the high school basketball game, and of course I was there for the girls game as well too, part of it, and I was blown away because it was the rival game, Maize South against Maize, and
There you go.
I was one. If you was following me then, I'm the one that tweeted out, "This is like being in the midst of the Duke Cameron indoor crazies." That's how the atmosphere felt to me. I mean, it was packed. Of course, there was Maize. I mean, the battle for Maize. So that was to be expected. And both basketball programs blew me away. And I enjoyed the atmosphere so much. So I said, you know what? Basketball season can't get here sooner for me. So I'm going to start going back to football games as well too. So basketball ushered me in to where I'm going to be at football games as well too. So, Coach, what is it that has kept you at Maize South for so long? It's probably like I already know the answer, but I want to hear it straight from you.
Oh, for me, it's the families. We got great families to be around out here. Super supportive. They do a good job raising their young men and teaching them some good work ethic, and it makes it a lot of fun to be around kids and families that work so hard and put others first. So yeah, it's been in that, and I've just got a good group of assistant coaches around me too. So I think it's one of those things that keep people going is the people around you. You surround yourself with the right people, and they're doing the right things, and they keep you focused on the right thing, and then good things happen.
Absolutely. So, at what point, because I know you played the sport, have had to play the sport, at what point did you know you was going to get into coaching?
Well, I didn't. It was a former coach that got me into it. When I was kind of getting done with playing ball, I was pre-med, and I kind of thought maybe I was going to go that way, and was doing some internships and spending some time around different parts of the medicine world. And I went back and talked to a couple of my old high school coaches and just said, it's okay. It doesn't excite me, but it's okay, and I'll make money. And I had a high school coach that had told me from day one when I left high school, he was like, you need to be around kids. You need to be doing something with kids. And so he challenged me. He said, just go back. You got time on your clock. Go back to school in Emporia and just do a semester of teaching stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hello?
Brent Pfeifer.
Damn it.
Okay, we got you back.
I dropped it. Sorry about that. So, yeah, it was a coach that kind of just, led me that direction and challenged me to go back to Emporia State and try education for a semester. And I did that. And when I did that, I also got with a couple buddies in town in Emporia, and we jumped in and coached a 7th grade basketball team. And I just fell in love with it. I just was like, this is so great being around these kids. And, there's some I don't know, some kids that need some help and some guidance and some downtown areas there in Emporia, and working with those kids that didn't have much and just were needing a good strong male figure to be around every day. And here I am, 21 years old, and I'm working with these little 7th grade boys, and just they have my heart quick. So I'm like, right. This is bigger than me and bigger than money, and this is where my heart belongs. And so this is going to be a lot more fun as a lifelong career than doing the medicine stuff. So I went that route, and it's been a blessing ever since.
See, now you're gonna make me think about going back to school and pursuing my a music degree. That way I can work with these young people, because man, me being a musician, and I've worked with young people all my life. I've trained young men to play drums, and I'm like, because I don't want to have to play another set of drums a day in my life. I'm a keyboard and I'm a saxophone man. I need y'all to play drums, so I can understand what it's like, working with young people. So I want to commend you for that. So now let's talk about this Maize South football football program? Because I know you've been putting some players in college at pretty much every level, whether it be D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO ball. And usually when they go JUCO, that means they're betting on themselves because they want to get a better offer. So
For sure.
tell me about your Maize South football program and what is your basic philosophy, your go-to? Are you an analytics guy or are you just a straight hard-nosed coach?
Well, I think anybody that's been doing it, as long as I've been doing it, I think the longer you're in it, if we're honest with ourselves, we change a little bit as time goes along. And when you're young and you can still run the 40 with the guys, and you can still rise up and do things in the gym and race them on the track and do all those things. You're one kind of coach. And then all of a sudden you're 51 with bad knees, and I'm not racing anybody, and my back sure doesn't want any part of putting 400 pounds on that sucker on a bar, and so you have to be able to adjust, and I think that's some guys are really, really good at that. As they age, different parts of their coaching style they can adapt. And I think the biggest thing for me, I think, is when you're young, you get caught up sometime in the lights and winning and yelling and getting on kids and pushing them hard. And as we get older, and I've had I think probably the biggest thing for me and a lot of coaches in the area too that I've gotten to be really good friends with. At one point where your son is on the sideline with you and at practice with you every day, and you're seeing it through two glasses, a dad and a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And, it really does. We talk about it, but you can't feel it the same. You don't see it the same until your kid's living it. And then, and when he leaves after 4 years and you go, man, that's a good young man. And you're really proud of who your son is and who you're, it changes those things a little bit to, we're going to want to win on Friday night, but where I really feel like I win is when those kids get across the stage and what kind of kid they were coming in at 14, and here they are at 18, they're doing great things. And then they come back to our alumni events and golf tournaments and stuff, and they share their life with me, and I meet their kids, and that's the best part.
Right. So I want to talk about the upcoming season, but what I want you to do, because you're a busy man, very busy man.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate to have you today because tomorrow you have a big event. So you know what I want you to do? I want you to tell us about the big fundraising event that's going on tomorrow.
Oh man, this is I guess I call it my labor of love. When we started the school, we were trying to look at something to do. Everybody kind of does their Friday night lights and their little events to raise a little money and scrimmage and do all those things. And we wanted to do something a little more for the community, a little more for families. It's a fundraiser, but man, if you talk about the number of hours and the amount of effort that goes into putting our carnival on every year, if we did an hourly rate thing, we're not probably doing great, to be honest with you. But it's a blast, and every year, everybody, all the parents and myself, it's like you look at tomorrow's back to school carnival out on our football field, and we'll have about anywhere from 16 to 20 different inflatables for kids to play around on, and they'll have water slides and different games, and then different school groups will come out, and they have it's carnival style. They're lined up around the track, and they have games and prizes they do, and concession stands and snow cones, and it's really an old school. If you went back to the 1980s and you found some small town little carnival of fun things to do, and it was a family night, that's what we do. It's a community event. We invite everybody and anybody that has a family and kids to come out just one time before school starts. It's cheap going. It's a lot of fun. There's a silent auction there with some big items and small items, but it's really about families coming together, just having a night of fun. Watch your kids run around, play around, and it's a blast, and it's a lot of fun with you. We'll start at 5:00 and we'll shut it down at 8. If you go up in the stands at 7:00 and look down there, it does nothing but warm your heart to see those families kind of getting together and having fun together.
So basically, I have an invitation to bring my grandson tomorrow. Then, right?
Well, if you bring him, how old is he?
He's 10 years old.
He will have an absolute blast. You put a little wristband on him at 5:00, and for the next 3 hours, there's going to be all these inflatable things to do and games to play, and he'll have an absolute great time. And then he's going to sleep like a baby.
Good.
He will.
I'm gonna call his mom and say, "I'm getting my grandson tomorrow." And you said it's from 5 to 8, right?
5 to 8, yes, sir.
In the evening. All right. I'm
Yep.
going to be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to come out and support the endeavor. So, y'all heard it. There's a carnival going on at Maize South High School. Bring your kids. Those of you who listen to this podcast, we want this thing to be big. It's a fundraiser at that too. So that means bring some money too.
Come out. Make sure you stop and say hi to me. I'd love to meet your grandson, and come out and have some fun.
Absolutely. All right, now getting back to the football season coming up, because one question I like to always ask, because now I know during the summer there are probably a select few that play these 7-on-7 tournaments. I would say it's kind of equivalent to the basketball players playing in AAU. That means they're getting exposed to some different talent levels, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But bringing it back closer to home, though, are you seeing a talent gap, or do you see the talent being bridged between, because you're in the ABCTLs, which means you're playing 5A, 6A, maybe some 4A schools. I'm not sure, but how is the talent level, or is it a gap, or is it being bridged because of the players at each level?
As far as like the classes, like
right.
4A, 5A, 6A, yeah, I think it really fluctuates, to be honest with you. And we've been, since the school opened over the last 15 years, we've played 4A ball, 5A ball. We've been playing 6A teams now, and I think it goes up and down all classes, I think, and you can find the diamond in the rough in every class. If you look around the state, one of the biggest recruits in the state is this last year is up playing 2A ball. So they're there. I think you can, if you have a talented team, if you take a top 4 team in 4A, I really believe that team can compete with the top 4 and 5A, and those guys can compete in the tops 4 and 6A, and there's just talent, and talent doesn't care how big the school is,
Right.
So you'll see 6A schools that struggle, and they get beat by a 4A school, and the same other way around. So the best thing really for our state right now is the rules allow those kids to get out and be seen at every level. The way that the recruiting process has changed allows a kid at a 1A or a 6A and anybody between, if you want to be recruited and you want to show what your abilities are, there's a lot of opportunities to do that. You don't have to be at a 6A to get recruited.
Right.
You just need to get it. You just need to get out and put your work in.
So, best case scenario is it's a good thing that the state of Kansas has finally changed and has kind of become a little bit, I don't know if lenient is the word used, but they've come a little bit, coming of age, so to speak, huh?
Yeah. I think, and you talk to, we got a lot of big time schools, and we, like you said, we have anybody from a junior college to Division III and NAI and D2s and big power fours coming through all the time, every spring, talking to our boys and talking with me, and I think the thing that we're hanging our hat on in Kansas is we got a lot of blue collar kids.
Right.
Our kids in Kansas know how to put their nose down and get to work. They're not worried about the stuff that's on the outside. They don't get distracted when they get off to college. I like to think that our kids here, especially I know the ones leaving for me, when I talk with them and they get to college, they know how to handle themselves right. They don't get distracted with all the things that are outside of that. They know how to put their work in and, have a little humility. And it's okay when you're a freshman to be on scout team, because that next year, you got a shot to take over. So, that work ethic is very, very important at the next level. A lot of kids get to that level and don't know how to do that. now they're not a starter for the first time in their lifetime, and handling that is hard. So you got to learn in high school a little bit how to swallow that pill so you're ready for the next level.
And speaking of going off to college, because I had one of your players on here. He's a two-way player. He plays football and basketball, and now I can't think of his name. I know he stands about 6'4". He's going to Butler County this year.
Oh, you had Darius on.
Darius, thank you.
Yeah.
So how big, how much will he be missed in your program?
Oh, we were so like that kid. If there's a kid that you want to get around and have fun with, man, what a personality. What a blast that kid is to be around. We were lucky. We just had him for one season. Moved from Wyoming at the middle of his junior year, about November or December of his junior year. He moved from Wyoming here, and we're going to miss him a ton. He's a big physical kid, big and long. He's got great skill. His hands are phenomenal for his size. Smart player. He's going to do, going to Butler, coming from Wyoming, they don't get a lot of love out there. And so, for him through the recruiting process, we had a couple of Division I offers for him, smaller Division I's. And I think he's a Power 4 guy. If he can put his work in and stick his nose to the grind a little bit, Butler County's going to, be a good spot for him. He's betting on himself, and I'm glad he did that, because I think that's going to be a great route for him. We're going to miss the heck out of that kid. We miss them all, though. To be honest with you, they're a lot of fun. Those boys, I learned to love them all, and when they leave, it's tough. But it's excited to see he's doing really well over there already.
Absolutely. So this is going to be the last question I ask you, because I asked him the same question. I want to get your opinion on this. So he's 6'6", I do believe. I saw him play basketball, and I had to ask him, what is it like trying to channel your football aggression away from basketball? But I asked him this question right here, though, because I know he's going there to strictly play football. I said, but if something happened to where the basketball team needed an extra body, would he answer the call? So in your opinion, if something happened and they needed an extra body and they got wind that, hey, Darius is on campus and he's just a couple of months removed from playing basketball, you think he would answer the call, or is he strictly going to play football?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think just his competitive nature is going to be like, yeah, I can do that, because Darius really believes in himself, which is why he's, betting on himself at Butler County there. And he would be the first guy, I think, that would answer that call and go, I got you. But he also knows he wouldn't want to take away from the path that he's on to go play big-time college football.
Absolutely.
So I think he would want to help out anybody, if he could help you be successful and go compete. And that's the best thing I think young kids in this area got to remember, because this world of club sports is out of control, but when you look at every sport, the kids that we have in football that are going off to play high level, the kids in basketball going off to play high level, the kids in baseball going off to play high level, they're multi-sport athletes. I don't care what anybody says, but they are at least minimum 2-sport athletes.
Absolutely, yeah. I like I said, I've had the opportunity to interview some of them here, and great students. I've had Ashley on here, girls basketball. I had Seals. I can't think of her first name. Seals is her last name. The run that the girls basketball program had, knocking off a 7-time defending state champion. Your school is just blessed with just all around athletic programs, and what more can you say? Maize South is the all sports high school. So, tell me this, and I'm gonna let you go. First game of the season, who is it against, and why should we all be there?
We play Newton High School at home for the first game, and I think it's going to be. We're excited for it because there's a lot of unknowns. Sometimes you get into a game and you go, "Wow, this is how we did last year. They got these guys back. We got these guys back." I know that coach. We've scouted it all already. We're ready for it, but they got a new head coach up there. They're changing a lot of things, offensively, defensively. It's going to be an interesting night, just because of the unknowns, and that's what you kind of want. You want to challenge yourself a little bit. You want see your kids have a little adversity with if you're not completely 100% prepared, it'll be a lot of fun. And for me, that's, the older I get, the more I want to go out there on Friday night and have a challenge. So I have a lot more fun when the games are 34-35 than I do when they're 35-0. So,
right.
And I think that's what the crowd wants too. So it'll be fun to have an unknown out there a little bit Friday night against Newton High. And if you're anybody that wants to hang out in the student section, if you're a high school kid, our student section is heads and tails, one of the best in the area for sure.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to shave my beard. I'm going to get rid of the gray. And I'm going to blend in with the students. I'm going to act like a student, all right?
We'll get you the theme. You can dress up and have a lot of fun with it. They're a blast.
Matter of fact, I might even bring my saxophone and sit in with the band, get in on a band pass.
There you go. That'll be fun. We'll put you out there.
All right. Well, Coach, I want to thank you for being on the train ride, and we'll have to do this again, all right?
Anytime.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. God bless.
All right. Take care.
All right. Once again, my guest on the A-Train Sports Talk podcast, Coach Brent Pfeifer, who's been there since the school opened up in 2009. Here it is, 2024. Where has time gone? And think of all the players that have come through that program since that school has opened up. I mean, what more can you ask for? Great man. I'm glad to have him on. And like I said, we will do this again. This train is building up ahead of steam. Matter of fact, what I'm about to do, I'm about to take a break because I need to take one. But guess what? I said we got a crowded train. I got another guest waiting to come on board. Oh, y'all know him. When I tell y'all city to city, state to state, coast to coast, that's exactly what I mean. And we're literally ready to go coast to coast. We're going to the state of, well, how can I say it? I've said it so many times before. We're going to the state of entrapment, picking up somebody that y'all know. So don't you go nowhere. Train building up ahead of steam. Those of you who are sitting down, stay seated till the ride is done. I'll be right back. Check 1, 2. There we go. Sorry. I know y'all like, what's going on? What's going on? Can I share some with you? These things happen in radio too. Anyway, welcome back to the A-Train Sports Talk Podcast. Hope you enjoyed the music. I really do. I really hope you enjoyed the music. Anyway, my next guest, he really needs no introduction. He's been on here before. And we're just going to dial him up. And he's going to answer his phone.
Please leave your message for...
And I'm not going to leave no message. He's going to call me back. Bottom line. Anyway. I want to think. See, I told you he was going to call me back. See? I told you he was going to call me back. He seen I call. He knows he missed my phone call. And he was going to call me right back. Once again, like I say, he does not need no introduction. And I'm going to warn y'all right now, this segment might not be for the faint at heart. We might actually agree to disagree for once. Because the subject, Dallas Cowboys. Who am I talking about? Well, this guy, I have a passage to say this. I don't think everybody can say this on a radio talk show with him. Besides me and maybe a few people in this circle. But we're going all the way to the state of entrapment. And you know what? It may sound like a broken record. He's going to tell you why come they call it the state of entrapment. He never fails to tell us why. There's a reason why. It's just like people come to Kansas, they leave and they come back. Oops, I done let the cat out the bag. But let's welcome aboard for Lord knows how many times, my friend and brother, Ed Nunez.
Anthony, how you doing, man? Always good to be on.
Man, it's always good to have you on, man. It's good to be able to call you up. Trying to get James, but he hasn't responded, so he might be busy because it's been a while since we did the three-headed monster. But, man, I know you read that article I sent you, and we just going to hash it out because, man, when they went down that list of quarterbacks, like Quincy Carter and some names I can't remember, Chad Hutchins, we had two Drews, and the only Drew I can think of is Bledsoe, Drew Henson, I guess it was. Man, there was a who's who of quarterbacks. And the records that they put up, you know, if Dak were to leave us, you would have at least a little bit better hope with a Cooper Rush as compared to what we had during that stretch from when the time Troy Aikman stepped down and Tony Romo was finally cut loose. When I say cut loose, was finally handed the reins. I mean, that was that's all I can say. That was So,
yeah, no, it really was.
It was hard to watch. I mean, you can't even put a singular word with how atrocious that was. I guess that's the word right there. But I mean, it gives you some hope. But at what point, as Dallas fans, do we develop a quarterback in case the inevitable could happen?
I think that's a good question. I think people were looking at Trey Lance. Now, look, to be fair, he was picked high by San Francisco. Got in a couple of games, didn't look half bad, then got hurt. Went to camp last year with San Francisco, and they went with Brock Purdy, the last man chosen, and then Sam Darnold beat him out, and then the 49ers looking to unload him, found Jerry Jones and said, Jones gave up a fourth-round pick. So at that time last summer, if you remember, a lot of people were, Jones didn't consult Mike McCarthy, didn't consult Dak Prescott. He made a deal. And so I think a lot of people, in our group, the Tony Romo versus Dak Prescott, were touting Lance as the heir apparent. Now, he goes and plays last Sunday. To be fair, it's fair to him. He wasn't playing with the ones or twos. He hadn't played in a while. Right. But I'll be honest with you. Pre-snap reads didn't look good. He looked unsure, unsteady. I didn't see him drive the ball. His mechanics were all over the place. And I just didn't see, you remember Dak Prescott a couple years ago in a preseason game against the Los Angeles Rams several years ago now, looked really good, right? Came out and he showed something. Lance didn't show much. He really didn't. A lot of people are saying, well, the line was bad, and, it's true. But I didn't see him make a lot of plays that you could say, hey, man, okay, now he made some throws the second to last drive of the game. But I said, okay, now he's a little high and inaccurate, right? So I just didn't see a lot from him. I didn't. So, if that's the guy that people were hoping, he can't even beat out Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is a solid number 2. So, I think you're to your point. I don't know. People have said let's draft or develop. Let's be honest. When's the last time Dallas has drafted a quarterback? I don't even remember.
The last time that happened, that was back in the 80s.
Prescott drafted in round.
Danny White.
Yeah. Danny White was actually, I messed up because Prescott they took a chance on Prescott in round 4 in 2016, and nobody could have predicted. Tony Romo was still the unquestioned starter at that time, and then he gets hurt in the preseason game against Seattle, and Dak has never looked back. He's started, and then some people, idiots, will say, oh, he's a good backup. He's never been a backup, ever. Never been a backup in the National Football League. Has started every game he's been in. Never has he been a backup, ever. And he's not look, I don't mean to go on a ramble, but I think everyone that we communicate with or that we see online is upset because he's got past the divisional round. I can understand the frustration. I think you were frustrated as well when they lost to Green Bay in the way that they did. They have a higher seed. They're supposed to win that game, and Green Bay took it to them, tore them up.
Right.
But I think one of the things that I say, and when people say that, oh, they're one and done, and I'm like, hello, playoffs. What do you think a quarterback that's undeveloped would bring you? 5-12, what would success in 5-12 seasons? Why you look for that guy? So the article in the Landry hat that you'd sent me was saying the Cowboys would be okay with Cooper Rush. Okay, as far as what? He's a backup. When he was a free agent, no team said, here's a contract to be our starter. Not one team. He's the solid number 2. He's not a starter. So when people say they'd be okay, what does that mean? He's not going to be the guy that takes over. We know that. He is what he is.
I would say
the search for that. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say he'd be a good stopgap.
Okay.
I would say he'd be a good stopgap. He might.
Yeah.
I was going to record say he would give us at least 1, maybe 2 good seasons, probably in the range of at least 9 and 8, maybe 10 and 7.
I couldn't even go there. I would say more like 6 and 12.
I could go there
12.
Because I don't see the Giants getting no better no time soon in the next 2 years. They still got Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't figured it out. They let Saquon Barkley go. So, defenses, when this is an obvious pass situation, Micah Parsons might get 10 sacks in 2 games against the Giants alone.
Right.
I'm just being honest. And Philly, they have to reclaim their identity. They really don't know their identity, so that's at least a split. I mean, Cooper could beat them. Like I said, he could beat the Giants. If we had somebody like Minnesota on our schedule, hands down. Now they have to figure out their quarterback situation because they lost their prize draft pick for the whole year.
Right.
I mean, the only teams that would really only teams that would really scare me come playoff time would be probably the Detroit Lions. Of course, I heard Colin Cowherd say you have to respect the Atlanta Falcons because now they at least have an edge rusher on defense. He said there's 2 things you have to get right. If you got the receivers, you got to pay them, and you got to get an edge rusher. And I think Atlanta's on the schedule, and they got an edge rusher that we have to pay attention to. So, but yeah, I would say Cooper Rush 9 and 8 easily.
I don't know about it. And I say easily because if we remember, and a lot of people want to downgrade Dak Prescott for beating the teams that he did, but he made a lot. He's a runner-up to the MVP last year, and arguably you could say he deserved it. You could say that. He had a dynamite season. I don't see Cooper Rush making those plays as far in the passing game. I don't see him as the threat that Prescott is in the pocket or outside the pocket, although since Dak has injured that ankle, he's not the same threat as he was, years ago. He still runs when the need arises, but he's not the same out of the pocket. I don't see that. I see more like 6 and 10, or he's not a starter. We've said that. If that's 9 and 8, maybe. But again, with going back to what you said, maybe a stopgap. Maybe that's something they're thinking about. I'd be surprised. We know one thing: Trey Lance is not going to be the starter. We know that. Now, maybe they keep him around at number 2. They develop him at number 2. But I got to ask you this, and I said this to a couple of people today. You're going to let Prescott walk, and they're not going to get anything for him? I mean, I think that's foolish. dumb. So maybe, on the other end, they try to get him to waive that no trade and send him somewhere and get something for him. It'd be a shame to see him walk
Let
for
me answer
nothing.
that. Let me answer that question for you. I'm kind of going Shaq mode with my voice. Let me answer that question for you. I wouldn't put nothing past Jerry Jones. Look at the
Right.
players he did let walk. DeMarco Murray. He let DeMarco Murray walk and kept Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant, in some essence, became like a Terrell Owens toward the latter parts of his days. He became a distraction. So I wouldn't put nothing past Jerry Jones to let Dak walk and get nothing in return for him. That's just the nature of the beast with Jerry.
Case.
Because now, let me get back to myself. We are treading on troubled waters because, for one, this is not Major League Baseball where there's no cap. In a perfect world, we'd find a way to have Dak sign. We'd find a way to have Dez Bryant. Dez is on my mind now. The other number 88.
CD.
We would have a CD sign, and we'd be also working on getting Micah Parsons signed. Because those are the three cornerstone foundations of your team that you have to have signed. Problem is, how do we circumvent the salary cap? Ooh, look at me. I'm using words like circumvent. How do we circumvent the salary cap to make that happen? Because I'm going to put it through this way. If CeeDee Lamb is not out on that field first game of the season, I don't care who quarterback he is. The season's almost a wash. Because with Dak, and this is not no knock on Dak, because if truth be told, you look at the great quarterbacks, look at Terry Bradshaw's, look at Roger Staubach. They had to have greatness around them. Roger Staubach eventually got to where he had Tony Dorsett, he had Drew Pearson, don't forget Billy Joe Dupree. Who's the golden child? What was his name?
Golden Richards.
Golden Richards.
Hill.
I mean, what quarterback was great that didn't have greatness around him? Terry Bradshaw had John Stallworth, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan. I mean, look at that. Ken Stabler had Cliff Branch, Fred Biletnikoff. I mean, if you name the great quarterbacks, they had to have certain pieces in place that made them great. So if you take CD from Dak, that's like me. I'm a coffee drinker. That's like trying to get me to drink black coffee. It ain't gonna work.
I think it's a great point, and I think, but I got to tell you this: when I watched Get Up this morning, and Prescott, said that there's been progress, and the only reason I'm saying this is, your points are well taken about Cooper Rush. That could be a stopgap. Is that what Jerry wants at 82, 83 years old? They signed Lawson from the Jets, to help the pass rush. They acquired Jordan Phillips from the New York Giants as a defensive tackle. Losing Sam Williams was bigger than people think, because Sam Williams is going to be that developmental guy that took the place of Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler. And so now they got the Lawson guy from the Jets and Jordan Phillips, so that strengthens their interior line. I still see them trying to win. I don't see them trying to tank, right? I don't see that with those moves right there. Now, I think that they're making progress. They said they are. I would think he's going to be in camp. And I got to tell you this, I know it's going to drive Dak haters crazy. I think there's still going to be a deal made with him, because it's, again, you're right. Cooper Rush could probably be a stopgap. I don't think they'd win with him. I don't think they'd make the playoffs. But I don't think Jones wants that at 82 years old. I don't. Now, what does he pay him? People are saying, he's not worth 60. Who knows what he pays him? Who knows? But I got to say this, that, again, starting quarterbacks, you mentioned some of the names. Quincy Carter wasn't a bad quarterback. He just had a drug problem. They went to the playoffs. They were 10-6. He went to camp the next year and had a problem, right? So, you mentioned the Hutchinsons, the Drew Hensons, the Vinny Testaverde came in, Drew Bledsoe, Drew Henson. And some of those guys were solid. Randall Cunningham on the back end of his career. And then they found Romo, and Romo was a solid starter for 8 years. And then they found Dak, and people don't understand. Anthony, look at Denver, look at Washington, how long they've searched. Washington's got the Daniels kid from LSU. They're hoping that's their guy. Detroit went for a long time without finding a quarterback, and they've got Goff now. So it's not an easy – look at Arizona. Is Kyler Murray their guy?
Man,
They've gone a long time, man.
and you know that amazes me because Kyler Murray is getting paid top dollar, and what does he produce? But you mentioned the teams that have been searching for the quarterback. There's only one team that has the blueprint, and I hate to say it, painful as I hate to say this, it's the team that beat us last year, Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, you're right.
Think about it. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, now Jordan Love. I mean, how long has that run been? 20-something years. Miami has had what, like 25 different quarterbacks?
Yeah, they're another revolving door, and we got to mention the Patriots. Look at Belichick and his fate after Brady retired and Brady went to Tampa Bay. So they used to say it was all Belichick, and then now look, they haven't had so much success. That's why I'm telling you, Anthony, this is just my opinion. I firmly expect the Dallas Cowboys to sign Dak Prescott. I do. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm in the minority, but Jerry Jones is no fool. He knows that going to draft a quarterback or signing one in free agency, that's a crapshoot. And people are going to say, well, Dak hasn't won anything. He's not gone past the divisional round, and all those points are taken. I get it. But at the same time, they've been in the playoffs with a chance to win. They're in the tournament, man. They're not at home on the couch. They've won 12 games, three seasons in a row? Mm-hmm. I'd rather have a chance to be in the playoffs and win. I'm telling you, again, with the defensive additions that they just got brought in, I mean, those aren't the Marcus Ware kind of guys or Charles Haley, but still, they'll help the defensive depth. I don't see them trying to tank and lose and go 4-13 to get a top pick. I don't see it. No. Now, if Lamb isn't in camp, like you said, if he's not there for game one, they've got a problem. And their running game is a question. So yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was going to say something. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In lieu of Cooper Rush, and like I said, I like his numbers. He's 5-1 as a starter. The reason I say that Cooper Rush is not with another team, if you look at it, you go back to when Dallas had the redhead quarterback from Cincinnati. What was his name?
Dalton.
You remember there was a unnecessary roughness call on him, and the players.
Oh yes.
The players. The players didn't even go to his aid. They were like, "He's not one of us. He's just in a uniform, but he's not one of us." But their attitude toward Cooper Rush, and that's why I say that they could, if it came down to that, that's why I say 9-8, 10-7. I mean, you still got some of those same core players that's in the organization that has confidence in him. And that goes a long way. Whereas if he was to go somewhere else, they might not have that same confidence. They might be like, oh, here comes this guy from Dallas. Kind of like, I mean, if you've seen the body language of the players that we had when Dalton was out there, they're like, okay, so. But when Cooper Rush, that first game he played against the Minnesota Vikings, and they was in the shootout and we won that game, and I won $5,000 on DraftKings because I picked him as my team captain, I probably had as much confidence in him as the team did. And that's what happens when you have a quarterback. When a quarterback knows that the team has his back, that's why I could say 9-8 easily as opposed to you saying 6-10. Because the players having confidence in that particular player goes a long way.
I wouldn't argue with some of that. I mean, he throws a nice deep ball. We saw the deep ball that he threw on the first series last week against the Rams. I just don't know that he has those intangibles to win 9. I'd say more like 6 or 7, no more than that. That's me though. He's again, not a starter, a backup. And when teams get more defensive looks in a book on a quarterback, they take away, again, that lack of arm strength would hurt him. Now, can he make all the throws on the route tree? I don't know. Enough to be a threat. But would I rather have him out there than Trey Lance? Absolutely. So now the season in question isn't this one. Prescott's still the unquestioned starter.
Right.
And now the season in question is next year if they let that walk.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't. That's me. When Prescott said that today that there's progress being made, they haven't said to each other, Anthony, during this whole time, well, hey, talks are off. We're a stalemate. We're not going to talk until the season or until the season's over. They haven't said that. They're still talking and communicating, so that tells me something.
And I actually think that would probably be a best case scenario, that they do talk after the season is over and concentrate their efforts on at least getting, if you can't get them both signed, at least get CeeDee Lamb signed. You got to have your skilled position players, especially if they're a top 5 talent. You got to get him signed, because then if he walks, like I say, that's like sitting on a 2-legged chair with only one leg. It ain't gonna stand.
No, they have to have him right. What did he get? 135 catches last year, broke the Dallas's record by far,
right,
as far as career or season catches. And I love the guy. I think he's great. They can put him in the slot. They put him out wide. He runs every route there is. Got speed, yards after the catch, can break tackles. I love him. And I think Dak Prescott, they've always some guys on our group have always tried to say Romo made this guy or made that guy. Well, Dak and CeeDee have a great connection. They do. So, I would love to see him sign. I think that's going to be done too. There's a lot of noise. First get up and first take. They know the Cowboys still have high ratings, so they're going to bring them up. You see them, the lead news story almost every day, because those two aren't signed. It's big news. But I still think that there's going to be a deal done with both of them, and hopefully Micah Parsons as well. They need him too. I don't think Jones is in the tanking mood. People are still hoping for that, that they tank. Jones is 82 years old, man. He doesn't want to tank and, die and the team not have a chance. I think he wants them to have a chance. I really do.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any more insights? Because if not, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to bring this train into the station. But I just wanted to, I had to pick your brain because I could tell by your message that you sent me, you was fired up. I'm like, yeah, I done poked the bear now. We're gonna have a real good session.
Oh, I love the Cowboys, Anthony. I've been a fan since 1970, man. And I used to get the Dallas Cowboy Weekly when they printed it. The Dallas Cowboys Star magazine. They don't print it anymore, but I got it for years, man. I was a loyal reader, so I'm all about the Cowboys. I pay attention to what they're doing, what they're saying, and these are just my opinions. But I really believe that there'll be a deal done with both of them. And again, I always appreciate you bringing me on, man. It's always a great time.
Well, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and hope that you're right. So, hey, man, enjoy the weekend. We will keep an eye on this, and if any breaking news develops between now and the next time, even with my crazy schedule and where I work at, especially my overnight job, if I have to, I will plug the earphones in the phone and go out to my car and drop a 20-minute podcast in a minute if time will permit it. But yeah, we will keep an eye on this. If any breaking news happens, I'll be like, hey, did you catch that? All right, let's talk, because I want to be just as prominent as the 4-letter network, the 3-letter animal that walks around, that be, and the one that just the one that just went from CBS Sports to Affinity Sports. I actually kind of like. Have you checked them out yet?
No, I haven't, not yet.
Man, you need to check out. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. He should be coming on within the next hour. There's a guy named JR Sports Brief. I've been trying to get him on my podcast too. Hey, right now we just shooting the breeze, y'all. Anybody listening at this podcast, we just shooting the breeze, talking like two regular guys. So, yeah, y'all need to listen to Affinity Sports. Check out JR Sport Brief. He knows what he's talking about. Look him up on download the Odyssey app and check him out. Affinity Sports used to be CBS.
Definitely going to do that for sure.
Yeah, he's a breath of fresh air. Like, if Stuart Scott was doing talk radio, this would be him right here.
Oh man, cool as the other side of the pillow. And he used to say, Stuart Scott would say, uncut funk. He used to have me cracking up because that was Parliament, Funkadelic, right?
Right.
So when he said that, I got it. There's a lot of people that wouldn't get it, but when he said uncut funk, I'm like, oh man, I am rolling. That's because no one's,
That's JR Sport Brief. He is uncut funk. That's JR right there.
Oh no, I got it. When Stuart Scott, I missed that guy. That guy was one of the best there ever was, right? What else? Booyah! Stop, shut him down, open up shop. Oh my God,
man!
And that guy had me rolling, man.
Hey, then he did this one right here. Then he did this one right here, especially when Gary Payton was playing. He says, "GP, are you with me?" Well, that's Kirk Franklin's Stone.
Oh yeah, man. We got that. That was just classic stuff. Really was.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Ed, I'm gonna let you off here. But like I said, if any news break, we will be. I can't say we'll be the first because we don't have all that technology. But hey, any news break, we'll be one of the first podcasts to get it out to you. All right.
Anthony, thanks again, man. Have a great afternoon.
All right, you too. Appreciate you.
Okay, you bet.
Once again, my guest on the A-Train Sports Talk podcast, none other than Ed Nunez. I can call him up. And I just got a message from James Goodrum. I was going to have him come on as well, too. But he is recovering from a procedure today. So I want to say, James, wish you the best in your recovery. All you got to do is just let me know when you want to come on, and we will swoop by and pick you up as well, too. Well, y'all, guess what? I have bored y'all long enough. And I am getting ready to decrease. However, I do want to say thank you to each and every one of my guests that have joined me. Starting first with Quaid Thomas. Next, head football coach at Maize South, Brent Pfeifer. And we ended by going all the way to the state of entrapment and picked up my good buddy, Ed Nunez. He just brings a different flavor to the show as well, too. So, Ed, thank you as well. So, with that being said, I am getting ready to burn some rubber and get up on out of here because I have things I have to do. But I have enjoyed taking this train down the track. Hope you have enjoyed the ride as well, too. Until the next time, keep your tickets because they are reusable. The ride is always free. From yours truly, your host and conductor of the state's #1 podcast. Why is it #1? Because I give young student athletes a voice. And I occasionally get coaches on and special guests. But until next time, take care of yourself and each other. God bless. I'm out.